gaming feminists just discovered Korea and it's not going well. And Korea had their own Gamergate-like event not too long ago, so I'm wondering what this is going to be like.
Did you know that South Korea had its own Gamergate and it was way crazier than ours? Who doesn't love Stellar Blade? And after the stunning success of the game, Shift Up was riding high, the little South Korean studio that had somehow managed to outshine the biggest Western names in AAA gaming. The studio's recent celebration seemed harmless enough. A simple anniversary post for their other title, Goddess of Victory, Nikki. Balloons.
It makes sense now why you say you spent all your time platinuming Stellar Blade, because you said earlier that you love Nikkei. I forgot they were the same company.
Yeah. Well, that's what was so impressive to me about Stellar Blade, because like that was their first like major effort, right? That wasn't just a mobile gacha game.
Nikkei didn't even have a PC port at the time, right? It was mobile only.
No, it didn't. It was literally just mobile only. And then they came out with Stellar Blade, and it honestly, having that, because context is a lot, right? Having that context that was their first like pseudo AAA effort. It was more AA in terms of like the budget that they had.
Game, but AA, I think AA, the future's an Indian AA anyway, so it's not an insult.
I would agree with that. 1,000%. I was like, wow, like this is really good. Like really, really good. Like I'm having a genuine blast with that. Never mind the fact that Eve is gorgeous, but like the gameplay is just literally right up my alley, right? Like I said earlier that I spent hundreds of hours playing the Ninja Gaiden 2 Black remaster, because like that type of like flashy action, like high level of difficulty type game, that's my jam. Right.
Well, it's funny you say that, because Kalika Gamer with a 5-banger says, when we get an Addy Shane Kyer as a guest, Leon. Also, I love my job because I use C4 as a combo starter and ender. I'm pro peace, as peace over the year and there. You bring up Addy Shankar, the individual responsible for single-handedly destroying one of my favorite IPs of all time, being Devil May Cry. Much like how you love Ninja Gaiden and Celebrate. I'm a huge Devil May Cry fan. Addy is very much welcome on the show, because as a free speech advocate, I'll have a conversation with anybody. He wouldn't last on the show. I could goddamn guarantee you he would walk out of the show, and I would probably lose my channel.
He's way too arrogant. He's
shout out,
way too arrogant.
Oh, he's a straight up menace. But shout out, thank you for the 5-banger. This is for you, buddy.
Like, I don't think humans were meant to see sissy hypno inflation compilations.
But hey, by the way, did you know that I suck dick as a man? I lick the ass of other men. But really quick, I lick the balls of a man.
Shout out, Kalika. Thanks so much, brother. I am breaking Andrew with clips tonight.
I'm so confused. It started with Shu, and then
she said to see Hypno, and I was like, I've got something to work with here.
Man. I clearly did not have enough wine tonight.
Cake shaped like a gun, all the tongue-in-cheek extravagance you'd expect from a mobile shooter built on glossy art and even glossier character models. Nikki had reached its 1,000th day, and Shift Up wanted to thank its fans in style. But within hours of the artwork going live, the festivities gave way to fury. A handful of players claimed that one of the characters was making a pinching gesture that was put there supposedly to mock men's anatomy. Yeah, really?
I've literally never heard of this controversy whatsoever. This
is literally the first time I've heard this.
I wonder if this was like something that happened in South Korea as opposed, because Nikkei was not big over here at all for the longest time. It was a niche gacha game. So I wonder if this is a South Korean controversy.
Yeah, well, because we over here in the West catch on to these gacha titles, like usually it's a year or two after it's already blown up. The
Persona 1 didn't even get a release in America until very recently.
Until just recently, like 4 months ago.
Yeah, which I have downloaded. I just haven't played yet because I don't know if I want to ever actually sink time into a gacha. I've never played a gacha. I'm really worried I'll get addicted. But anyway.
The simple precision grip was interpreted as a feminist provocation. Outrage quickly spread across Korea, with debates taking place over whether or not the developers were harbouring a subversive political agenda. Comment threads filmed with zoomed-in screenshots circled in red like crime scene evidence, speculative essays dissected the angle of the fingers, and social media lit up with accusations that the crab hand pose was a coded insult to Korean men everywhere. So, holding this bizarre scenario in mind, join me today to take a look at how a single drawing managed to ignite one of the strangest culture wars in gaming history.
I won't lie, she got me hooked from that intro. I have no idea where this is going, so I'm
That's
very
freaking
curious.
wild, man. Like, I am so confused because let me tell you, unless your definition of feminism is just embracing sexuality and like the female form to its absolute fullest, and not having any problem with that being like, hey, we know that red-blooded men like beautiful women, and so we're going to put beautiful women in this game. Unless that's your definition of feminism, I don't understand what's happening here. Now, that being said, I am not Korean. Maybe there's some context that I'm missing. I'm curious to see where this is going,
we might
because
need
I'm
to
so
call our
lost.
buddy Spence because he's part Korean. He maybe can decipher this for us.
I am Lady Decade, and if you are a man of culture, then hit that subscribe button. Let's talk about the people who called your thingy small and the people who took issue with it. A lot of men in the West enjoy it so much when a woman points out how amoeba-like their members are that they'll actually pay for the privilege. Call it humiliation, call it whatever keeps your browser history interesting, but Korean men apparently aren't quite so, how should we say it, sporting about it. Fortunately, not everything from Asia is small and disappointing. Quite the opposite, in fact. The region's been responsible for some of the biggest, hardest hitting releases in gaming over the past few years, and if you fancy getting your hands on something truly massive for a very modest outlay, use my links below to score
She's
deals
not
that'll
being
make
shy
even
about that at all.
BTS blow.
No, and I'm kind of digging because like this is. I've not seen this side like a decade before. I'm kind of digging this because you don't get to make a lot of dick innuendos when talking about the Jaguar, for example. So
No, oh god,
this is interesting. I like it.
Jaguar.
Gosh, get 39% off Stellar Blade, 29% off Black Myth Wukong, 43% off Silent Hill F, and up to 90% off of thousands more. So happy shopping, and remember, when it comes to bargains, size really does matter. After the infamous artwork post went live, outrage began to spread with all of the precision and velocity of a missile strike. The supposed crab hand gesture, which to any rational observer looked nothing more than a hand holding air, was now trending across South Korean social media. The accusations multiplied like bacteria in a petri dish.
Yes, Larry,
Shift
EB.
Up, the developer behind the game, wasn't just being accused of being careless, but intentionally subversive, with many believing that they had smuggled feminist messaging into their artwork, betraying the very players who had made them successful. And of course, pattern recognition would quickly go into overdrive. Fans dissected every frame of promotional material looking for further signs of ideological corruption.
Okay, look, I
think we're about to have a similar thought here. Like, I understand, and this is a problem we've reached here in the West, right? With
Okay,
when
we
we're
are about to
talking
have a similar
culture
thought.
war,
Go for it. Go
right?
on,
Where it's like we have in recent years been browbeaten. We've had ideological hand fisting shoved up our asses without consent, and it's been ridiculous. Our favorite franchises have been crapped all over, front and back. However, it reaches a certain point where if your full focus is strictly on a war, strictly on something that is ideologically driven, regardless of what side you are on, you start to begin to see things that aren't there.
Yes,
And you
exactly.
start to all of a sudden you are looking for things, not to see if things that are there but rather you are looking to find things specifically.
Straight up
And
shadow
therefore
boxing.
your brain will start to, because of how our brains work, your brain will make you see things that are not there.
It's culture war pareidolia.
Yeah.
Like, okay,
and you
I
start
know
to
you're
shoot
not
yourself in the
you've not
foot
been on
there.
YouTube much. You haven't watched a lot of YouTube lately, but I know you've been on X a lot, and I'm sure you saw the influx of, in my opinion, dumb motherfuckers throwing a bitch fit about the Girl Boss Mario Galaxy trailer. Oh, Rosalina was strong. Peach was strong. Guess what? Play fucking Smash Bros. Rosalina is strong. You play Smash Bros.
Rosalina
Peach
is
strong.
also the freaking princess of the galaxy. So if that means she's supposed to be a sissy lala little girl, I don't know how to help you. Actually, so far I have two things. One, Rosalina is my favorite Mario character. Two,
Okay, that's I don't know how I feel about that, but go on. I'm
that's
curious.
okay. That's fine. We can differ on that. Brie Larson, who is voicing
Cute
her,
girl, by the way.
has been quiet
Silent
for
for like several
years.
years now.
She has been
In fact, I
completely
would take it
inoffensive.
beyond that. When she's not being silent, she's actually been relatively based, as I pointed out in my video, like defending Johnny Depp, for example. When someone tried to put her on the spot to get a clip about Johnny Depp at the, I think it was the Cannes Film Festival, like a year or two ago, she was after the Amber Heard stuff went down. She was like,
Yeah.
"Yeah, I'm here to talk about movies, man." That's Brie Larson 7 years ago would have said some dumb shit. Brie Larson 2 years ago was like, "I'm here to talk about movies." What that Johnny Depp shit got to do with me? Like,
Well, look
good.
at like the lead up to the Marvels, which I still haven't seen and have no plan on changing that. Like
I mean, that
the
was
lead
better than
up to
first one.
the
Not even not that it's a high bar, but I think the Marvels is better than Captain Marvel. They're both dog shit, of course.
yeah, wow, that's a all right. I'll have to take your word for it. Like she was asked about the sequel to Captain Marvel, right? And she was just flat out. I honestly, to this day, I believe she broke script there, where she was
I
like,
think so too.
does anybody even want to see that anymore? Like, is anybody even interested in that? And that was the first moment where I was like, someone's not in your ear right now. Someone's not like telling you what you're supposed to say. And basically, since then, she's been quiet. She's done a few commercials.
Mhm.
Obviously, she did the Marvels, but like for the
When she did the press
press,
tour for the Marvels, guess what she didn't do? Spat off at the mouth like she did
Yeah.
back in the day.
yeah, she didn't run her mouth like she did with Captain Marvel. So either she learned a lesson or somebody said, hey, like dial that back, or it was an omission. And so it was a matter of somebody wasn't telling her what to say. Whatever that ends up being, she's been quiet. And so at this point, as obnoxious as she was back during the marketing
We also
for
need to
Captain
separate
Marvel,
ourselves. We need to separate ourselves because the whole thing that the left would do with cancel culture, whatever you want to call it, was they would give no option for redemption or whatnot. Hey,
there's
we labeled
no
you
such
the
thing
same.
as redemption. Yeah, it's exactly.
So yeah, so I guess final thought on the reason I brought the Mario stuff up is because okay, if it's Star Wars, yeah, we're gonna see it, right? We've been conditioned in Star Wars, like every single piece of Star Wars media since the Disney buyout, by and large, minus like maybe a handful of games or the first season of Star Wars Visions, most of it has been atrocious dog shit. Plus, there has been all the ideological stuff. Even without the ideological stuff, it would have been good, by the way. That's just like the fucking icing on the cake.
Yeah.
So when it comes to Mario Bros, where the first movie didn't have that shit, it was fine. Nintendo is not giving us any reason to believe. Why are you seeing it in this Mario 2 trailer when it's not in their games? It wasn't in the first movie. Like, you do need to be able to separate. I get pattern recognition's a thing, but
It's pattern recognition. It's also cultural conditioning is what it is. So in the same way that some people on like the ideological left, will say, have like culturally conditioned people to look for sexism or racism in around every corner,
I cover
right?
every day. Trust me, I'm well versed in seeing this stuff because I cover it on the daily on this channel. That being
You're a
said,
newsy
there's
news
another
channel.
pattern to look at. I'm not looking at movies as a macro because you're right. There's pattern recognition if you look at movies as a macro, but there's another pattern. The pattern is Nintendo themselves. Do they have a pattern of this stuff? No. Well, then I am on the side of, as it currently stands, that shit's not going to be there. If it is there and I'm wrong when the movie comes out, I'll be honest about it. But as it currently stands, I don't see the pattern. Therefore, I don't see the reason for the outrage.
Exactly. 100% agree.
Content creators devoted entire streams to analysing the angle of each fingertip, and by the end of the day, to some, the image had become evidence about who was secretly working for the feminist underground. But in an interesting twist, rather than ignoring the criticism or accusing their fans of acting in bad faith, as employees at companies like EA or Ubisoft so often do in the West, ShiftUp actually did the unthinkable. They addressed the disgruntled fan directly, acknowledging their
Oh, okay. As someone who's a Shift Up fan, for you, because I don't know much about them. How do you think if they addressed the disgruntled player base? What do you think their response was?
Honestly, I can't imagine it being anything other than just trying to be a reassurance of like, hey guys, like we weren't trying to like do anything that was meant to, disparage our fan base whatsoever. Because I have yet to, as somebody who is, as some, I was trying
That
not to
comment
laugh
got
at
you?
that.
Got me too. Sorry.
Oh man, that threw me off.
You broke Andrew.
God dang it. Okay. As somebody who has spent a great number of hours on Shift Up titles, I see no evidence to think that they would have something in there that would be meant to disparage their vastly male fan base, right? There's no reason to suspect that. In the same way that we just talked about, there's no reason to suspect that Nintendo would do something like that. Shift Up's the same way. And every single time I've seen them put out a post or a newsletter or anything similar to that, it's always been something that is a tone of love and appreciation for their fans. Now, obviously, a gotcha title is literally just meant to be a cash grab for the most part.
Right.
However, I will say, gameplay wise, artistically, and honestly, the most surprising thing is the fact that the story is actually good. The story is better than a lot of like AAA games that I play these days and have played in the last several years. And to some people, that might sound like, did you read Playboy for the articles type of a thing, right? Like, I understand completely how that sounds, but the story is actually genuinely engaging. Now, Stellar Blade's story is solid. Like, it's solid, but I also played Nier Automata, and it's kind of like Nier Automata light in terms of the story. The story, when they do the sequel, I hope the story is what they dial in a little bit.
That's why I've
better.
heard from a lot of people say it's like the story's not bad. It's just basic. But
No,
there's nothing wrong with basic.
it's solid. It's not bad. It's not even just like okay. It's solid. But I have played better. Right? The gameplay is really what hooked me with Stellar Blade, though, because that crisp action combat, as somebody who loves Bayonetta, as somebody who loves Devil May Cry, Ninja Gaiden, games like that, like that's where you hook me.
Let's find out what Shift Up how they responded. Then.
I'm so
concerns
curious.
about feminism and publicly apologised for upsetting their audience. Honestly, can you even imagine a Western studio doing that? They would sooner write a 12-tweet thread about why you are the problem. They deleted the post, issued a public apology, and explained that the artwork had come from an overseas outsourcing team. Then, in an impressive show of accountability, ShiftUp didn't just stop there. They replaced the illustration, rewarded players with in-game compensation, and even established a new quality management department to prevent future misunderstandings.
Bro, all this because of people thought that Shift Up was saying they had tiny dicks. That's hilarious.
So here's the real irony of that, because honestly, I don't know. And again, they didn't need to go
that hard, in my opinion. That's kind of overkill.
Well, this might be a cultural thing that we just don't understand, and I'm willing to admit that. And I'm the type of person that I would rather voice my ignorance by way of admittance, rather than people discover my ignorance by way of me like mouthing off, right? So I genuinely don't know if that piece of art, if there's something actually there, but the fact that Shift Up was like, our fan base thinks that there's something there, so we're going to, regardless of whether or not there was intent there, regardless of whether or not there was actually something there, They said, nope, we're getting rid of that piece of art. We are rewarding our fans and our player base with in-game currency and things like that. And we're going to form a department
See, and
strictly
that's why.
with
This
the
comment from Tyler King says it feels performative. I disagree because of how hard in the paint they went. That's the performative would be like they put out a tweet apologizing or whatnot. Creating a whole ass new apartment that costs money.
I was going to say, yeah, if it had stopped at just like we swapped out the art, or we swapped out the art and maybe we threw in-game currency at you. Okay, well that literally costs you nothing, right? And Goddess of Victory Nike makes so much freaking money. You have no idea. The amount of money it makes is stupid. Like, it's a great idea. I wish I had the technological know-how and the ability and the intelligence to have thought of it myself first, but I didn't. But the fact that they created a department to prevent this in the future, that's the telling part, because you don't get to create a department for free unless your department is like, well, not even creating a DEI department, right? Like that costs money, and that's why those people they're useless, and that's why those are the ones that are the first ones to get cut.
Hiring, like, yeah.
That you have an oversight department specifically designed to make sure that kind of a thing doesn't happen again when you are specifically working with outside, so external teams. I don't know, man. That's props to them.
Yeah.
Because again, I don't even know if this this was an actual issue. If there was really anything here, but Shift Up saw that their fans thought that there was, and therefore they adjusted. And that was the thing. Because ultimately, whether there really was an issue there or not, that's kind of irrelevant in the eyes of your fans. If your fans think there is, you need to like address it.
Right. No, and they did. I agree with that completely. It's like, if Coke, makes, completely changes their recipe. This is new Coke, and your fans don't like it. Coke doesn't get to say, "Oh, too bad. This is new Coke now." Coke says, "We fucked up. We're gonna lose millions. Time to go back to the old recipe." Unless if you want to stay a company at least. So.
What could have been a PR disaster instead became a demonstration of how to handle controversy with grace. Rather than doubling down or mocking their core fan base, Shift Up chose transparency, responsiveness, and respect, a refreshing contrast to the arrogance we've come to expect from most Western publishers. To outsiders, especially those in the West, the whole thing looked completely insane. The idea of a developer being hounded into an apology tour over the shape of a cartoon hand felt like something straight out of a satire sketch. But in South Korea, this wasn't some random overreaction. It was the latest flare-up in a culture war that makes ours look almost civil by comparison.
Okay, so there's some history that we're about to delve into. Dude, this is
about to say,
wild.
Making our culture war look civil, that's gonna take some work. You got some convincing to do, lady.
By the way, if you ever need a break from all this modern outrage, head over to my other channel, Lady Arcade. It's my little nostalgia bunker dedicated entirely to retro gaming history. Recently, I've been diving deep into the glory days of Sega, including a half-hour look at the Dreamcast, the console that was way too clever for its own good, and a deep dive into the Sega Saturn, the beautiful design.
Hashtag not sponsored or anything. I just do truly recommend her Dreamcast video. It was a wealth of knowledge.
So that deserved so much better. So if you'd rather escape culture wars and go back to a time when the biggest debate in gaming was who had the better ports, Saturn or PlayStation, go give Lady Arcade.
Super Gamer 30 for a 5-banger. Shift Up absolutely knows their customers are vital to their success and offering them a huge no-no. The Korean culture war runs very deep. Offending them is a huge no-no. Korean culture war runs deep. See,
offending your customers is never a good idea.
Right. And so I do know that there is a culture war going on in Korea, very much akin to ours, like on the political scene. I didn't know that it went down in like the nitty-gritty of entertainment and stuff like it does for us. Although to be fair, I guess that they say politics are downstream from culture, so it does make sense. All right, let's get you a clip real quick, my man, and then we'll continue with this. Thank you so much for the 5-banger. This is for you.
I know now that it could never work between us. Not because you're a rabbit, but because you're black.
I take it you've never seen the Ghost Stories English dub?
No.
You got some research to do, my friend.
Paid a visit after this video. I look forward to speaking with you over there in my comment section. Since around 2015, South Korea has been caught in a vicious tug of war between radical feminist groups and anti-feminist movements, each seeing the other as a direct threat to society itself. In that climate, even something as small as a gesture can be interpreted as a political statement, and that's exactly what, on the surface at least, seems to have happened here. A harmless pose seen by some as resembling a controversial small penis hand sign used in past feminist protests was enough to trigger a full-blown online crusade. In a culture where one poorly placed pixel can be mistaken for an act of rebellion, they did what any sensible company would. Chose a brief public shaming over the risk of corporate ruin. To Western audiences, it all seems unthinkable, but in South Korea, this is just another day on the internet. At the centre of this entire scandal lies, of course, the hand gesture. So let me proceed to attempt to explain to you what all the fuss is about. The accusation traces back to a very specific subculture of South Korean internet life. Megalia, a radical feminist group formed in May 2015 during the MERS outbreak. The community built its identity around
An outbreak of MERS and a bunch of bitches got together to be like, we gotta form a movement. That's a really weird answer to a viral outbreak, but okay.
That's wild, man.
a tactic called mirroring, repaying what they perceive to be misogyny with what they perceive to be equal vitriol. Its members famously adopted a logo showing two fingers held close together, a deliberate provocation meant to ridicule what they claimed was the average Korean man's length of 6.9 centimeters. That number, as it happens, came from a 2003 Korean military study measuring flaccid lengths. But there is also some later research that puts the Korean length broadly in line with global averages.
So it's kind of.
I mean, maybe they're a grower, not a shower. I don't know, man.
Yeah.
Like...
I normally have a female co-host. For those of you that might be new here or whatnot, I normally have a female co-host. I didn't know that you were such a Shift Up or Nikkei fan, so I already had this video on the docket. I was like, oh, cool, a video about, when you said earlier that you're a Shift Up fan, I was like, sweet, because we got a Shift Up video to talk about and whatnot. Had no idea that we were going to get into the size of Korean dicks with a male co-host. So
yeah, I was not prepared for that.
Yeah, neither was I, but I'm glad we're doing this together, man. This is a learning experience for all of us.
Sure.
Korean men believe Megalia simply
non-homosexual.
cherry-picked the smallest figure because it was funnier, weaponizing a medical statistic for maximum humiliation. But the group's, how shall we say, combative tactics soon fractured its base. When Megalia later banned homophobic posts, an even more extreme splinter called WOMAD emerged, doubling down on hostility towards men and anyone deemed insufficient.
Okay, hold on.
WOMAD emerged.
I am just now realizing.
Are we seeing the same thing here?
Well, we're seeing a vagina, right? But
Okay.
I'm just now realizing how much Cobra Commander, how their symbol now looks like a vagina. So GI Joe is also
I was gonna say you're never gonna look at GI Joe the same way ever again, or at least not Cobra Commander.
right.
Doubling down on hostility towards men and anyone deemed insufficiently radical. From that point on, the crap hand symbol was no longer a political logo, it became the equivalent of a curse word in Korea. And this is where the madness begins to snowball. The turning point came in 2016 during the now infamous Kim Ja-yeon t-shirt incident. A voice actress was fired after being photographed in a shirt that read, "Girls do not need a prince." A slogan linked, however tenuously, to Megalia. The dismissal triggered protests, counter-protests, and a digital civil war. Westerners compared it to Gamergate, but in South Korea it was more extreme. It infected every cultural industry from gaming to advertising and everything in between with a contagious fear of association. And at the center of it all was a logo. That simple hand gesture, 2 fingers pinching together, once a symbol of provocation, now a permanent stain. What began as Megalia's emblem
Damn.
of
This is crazy.
Dude, this is going way deeper than I expected.
I didn't see Kotaku write any articles about this.
No, they did not. They don't want to touch the Korean culture war. They're not ready for it. With the symbol in the chat, that's great.
Yeah, my set list, that was good. I like that, my set list.
mockery has become a shorthand for everything people loved to hate about feminism. Nearly a decade later, it still haunts Korean pop culture like a ghost, lurking in the background of every new outrage, waiting to resurface in one particularly unfortunate anniversary post. For
So it really is just like Gamergate, because for those of you that don't remember or weren't there, I was there for Gamergate 1. When she says Gamergate, I assume something about Gamergate 1, because Gamergate 2.0, I mean, that's pretty by and large over. It's not really, obviously, yeah, Sweet Baby still out there in the darkness. We don't like him. Game comes out, called out. But Gamergate 1 was way worse. Gamergate 1 was way fucking worse in the grand scheme of things. And so when that happened in 2014, you would have when Furiosa was announced, for example, and you'd see people on the internet being like, this is like Gamergate all over again, man. Like, it's something that just refused to die, to this day has refused to die. So we're sitting here in 2025, and this in Korea, South Korea, and this issue is still coming up from a 2015 feminist movement. It really is just like our version of Gamergate.
It kind of is.
Goddess of Victory, Nikki. Past this point, people started hunting for what they perceived to be hidden symbols everywhere. Advertising posters, anime art, and even supermarket packaging have all been accused of harbouring the same coded insult. The logic has this.
I can just imagine some, like, you go to the grocery store and you see a section for plantains. And there's some girl holding like some plantains doing this, and they're fucking getting all pissed off. It's like, I'm gonna go buy regular bananas now. I'm pro Chiquita Charlie for president. Like,
oh my gosh.
Self-sustaining quality of a fever dream, everything becomes proof, and denial only deepens suspicion. What seems to have been lost in all of this noise, though, is the basic understanding of how symbols work. They aren't magical and thus only matter when people collectively decide they do. A gesture that once meant small to a handful of provocateurs has somehow become a national flashpoint, not because the pose has changed, but because that shared sense of meaning completely collapsed. And in the vacuum left behind, paranoia soon rushed in to take its place. In 2021, a convenience store became a key battleground. A convenience store. GS25, one of the country's biggest retail chains, launched a harmless summer campaign, a bright, colourful, unthreatening little snack ad.
I accidentally called it.
What the hell?
People were freaking out at a gas station, effectively, because an advertisement has. Korea, are you okay? Like,
That's literally just a hand reaching for us.
meanwhile, North Koreans would see this and be like, I do want a little bit of food. Just a little bit of food. We're busy, we're tired of eating air.
And honestly, so maybe there is some that's where the cultural differences come to play, right? Where the context of where people are at, because South Korea is fairly prosperous. You look in North Korea, they're under tyranny, right? Not quite the same thing.
No, a slight difference.
A little bit, right? So what looks to a North Korean as just like, hey, there's food, I'm going to reach for it. Because as you just said, I'm sick of eating air, right? To the South Korean, especially if you add on the context of maybe they are, they're ingrained in this, whatever culture war they've got going on already there, you start to look at things through the culture war lens. And that's something that I encourage people to try to avoid doing. Try and look at things as what they are. And if you are looking at it as face value, what something is, and it still looks a certain way, okay, there's something there to really address and assess. a lot of times, though, if you're just looking through things, looking through a specific lens, you're painting colors onto something that don't actually exist.
Right.
And I don't know again if that's really what's happening here. But man, this is why.
Okay, so let me pause this to you then, because this is something I was talking about on a different stream earlier. So comparatively, we've already agreed that the culture war nonsense around the Mario movie is insane, right? Like there's
Retarded
literally
is the word I'd use.
Yeah, right. It is full on fucking retarded. Now,
It was with the first one too, when people were bringing it up initially with
agreed.
Princess Peach.
Conversely, they've also announced, not they as a Nintendo, but like media sources have announced that we are getting a new television adaptation of V for Vendetta. Now, I do see culture war implications in that because of what
I'm sure there
source
will
material. Yeah, I'm tinfoil hat or not. I think that they are going to be using V for Vendetta as a cultural subversion tool. I literally the reason they're doing V for Vendetta now of all times is a sort of psyop. I think that I can think that's a logical conclusion to come to.
It wouldn't take that much effort to convince me of that specifically.
Right. Compared to something like Mario, which I think is, again, retarded. They're very, because there's a different set of values assigned to both, you can find it in one, but the other one, you have to create it to find it.
Yeah.
It's the sort of thing you'd normally walk past without even noticing, but within hours, the internet noticed, and once the internet notices, it never stops. According to certain online forums, the shape of the woman's hand in the poster, the way her fingers delicately pinched the sausage.
I wouldn't have even been able to tell that was a woman. It's just a silhouette of a hand.
It's just a hand. I was gonna say it just looks like a hand to me. Like it's one of those things where in Asian media, sometimes you have character designs that are somewhat androgynous, right? This just looks like a hand. You could say maybe this is a young man's hand, or maybe this is a female's hand, but it's hard to genuinely say this is absolutely a woman's hand or this is absolutely a man's hand.
Also,
at least for me.
I'm just now reading this because there's English on here. What is emotional camping? Emotional camping must-have item.
I mean, apparently emotional camping is a must-have item. I don't know. I genuinely don't know. I don't read Korean.
I love going camping. I've never really found it to be a particularly emotional experience. It's just a fun thing to do, but okay.
Was identical to the crab hand used by Megalia. The ad was quickly claimed to be feminist propaganda in disguise. Expectedly, there was outrage everywhere. The enemy had snuck in and infiltrated the lunch menu. GS25 immediately pulled the campaign and issued an apology, but the hysteria only grew. A new version of the poster was uploaded with the hand cropped out and was then accused of harbouring another hidden symbol, the crescent.
Wait, what?
What? It's a moon. What? Okay, what are we doing here?
Emotional camping. Thank you.
Emotional camping. I will send you to Jesus.
Shape of a moon in the corner, supposedly a nod to feminist iconography. The company tried again, replacing the moon with a slogan, only to have that too denounced as feminist messaging. At this point, even punctuation was political. Boycotts were organised, petitions circulated calling for the dismissal of those responsible. Employees were investigated, executives disciplined, and the designer, whose only crime was drawing fingers, was publicly humiliated. Within a week, a fast food poster had triggered corporate purges, governmental statements, and a nationwide witch hunt over snack-based sedition. During all of this mayhem...
Bro, we literally got the Red Scare in Korea over a fucking camping ad.
Bro, that's wild.
Crazy Fela says a moon is feminist dog whistling. Are these people like
are these people
gods don't get to just claim the moon? Okay, the moon is, first of all, I'm pretty sure only dudes have ever set foot on the moon, if you believe we even went to the moon. So if anyone gets to claim the moon, it's dudes. But I feel like the moon is for everyone. This is crazy.
The GS retail president was quietly reassigned as the company scrambled to contain the backlash. To make matters even crazier, the more GS25 apologised, the guiltier they looked, and the guiltier they looked, the more apologies were demanded. It was the Ouroboros of outrage, a scandal feeding on its own absurdity until nothing was left but shame and silence. And due to all of this, by the end of the debacle, other companies began preemptively scrubbing their adverts of anything resembling the hand gesture, terrified of becoming the next target. Somewhere in Seoul, a marketing intern learned the hard way that hot dogs can be perceived as a hate crime against men. By 2023, the panic had evolved into something far uglier. The target this time was...
Mind you, so this is still related to this situation with Goddess of Victory Nike. Like,
bro, what?
I'm so glad I found this video.
Korea, are you okay? Explain, please help me understand. Because to me, this looks like a bit of a stretch, like a Reed Richards stretch.
I mean, just a little bit,
Oh, you did it! You did it!
I couldn't help myself.
I genuinely don't understand.
All I know is I'm about to wake up tomorrow to like 3 South Korean subscribers unsubscribing.
I genuinely want to understand, because right now it looks, from the outside looking in, I'm baffled, right? But maybe there's a cultural divide. Maybe there's a cultural difference here that I'm just not grasping.
Well, I've covered some pretty ridiculous shit in terms of the culture war stuff on this channel. I hope to God I've never looked at this fucking Looney Tunes. Like, I'm starting to worry now about our own culture wars. Like, oh, fuck, is this how...
Oh, man, I was worried about that a long time ago.
That's what it is. My dad's a normal red-blooded, white picket fence American who watches Star Wars and watches football. You know, he's pretty even on the cultural divide stuff. So I need to be like, Dad, how do I look like the Alex Jones of anime?
Oh, man, yeah. You got to ask your pops at this point.
The fucking wife was gay.
Poster or an inanimate sausage, but a person, a young animator working for Studio Puri, an external contractor producing promotional videos for Maple Story, one of South Korea's longest running online RPGs. Puri had created a 30-second animation celebrating the game's latest update, yet buried deep within it, in a single fleeting frame, viewers claim to spot the unthinkable: a female character making the infamous crab hand. It lasted less than half a second, but that was all it took. Screenshots spread, videos slowed to quarter speed.
Bro, those are fingers in
motion. It's not even like this was a still image. Like in the camping thing, she was dancing and moving. Guys, your hands move when you talk.
This is a reach, man. I feel like this is a reach.
This is amazing.
Oh my God.
And outrage snowballed. The animator was swiftly accused of being a Megalia sympathizer and infiltrator, smuggling feminist messages throughout the game art. The online mob went into overdrive. Her name, her address, and social media profiles were plastered across forums. She reportedly received torrents of abuse, with even her family being targeted. In the court of public opinion, guilt was a foregone conclusion, a crime already carved into the internet's memory before anyone had asked whether she'd even drawn the frame at all. But when the truth finally surfaced, it was almost too absurd to believe. The supposedly incriminating animation hadn't been drawn by her at all. It was instead the work of a male colleague. The entire
Oh, what?
This is even better. This is
What
like
are we doing
like,
here?
Dude, this is like when people throw a fucking fit about like Full Metal Alchemist is misogynist. It's like, I mean, it's written by a woman. Like,
I was gonna say it was literally created by a woman.
Oh, this is glorious.
crusade had been built on a lie, a convenient fiction that let thousands of anonymous men play moral executioner for sport. The fallout was devastating. Studio Puri lost roughly 80% of its contracts, including future work with Nexon, as clients scrambled to distance themselves. Police eventually identified and charged more than 80 individuals.
Okay, hold on. This actually lends credence to something else. I gotta look this up now. Is this true? Because Nexon, I believe, yeah, dude, this was one of the ones that we were talking about in the previous video. Nexon was one of the companies that did a bunch of layoffs to the North American staff for their Eastern video games in 2024 that the last guy was talking about. So they literally do fire people over like political, potential ideological stuff because it's happening in this.
Holy crap.
We linked the two videos like complete accident. Thank you,
These
Korea.
somehow managed to be connected, even if loosely.
That's wild.
Individuals involved in the harassment campaign, an almost unheard of outcome in a country where online mob justice rarely faces consequences. But by then, the victory was hollow. The animator's reputation was in ruins and her livelihood was gone. In less than a decade, the hand gesture had gone from meme to curse, and now it could cost you your career simply to exist near it. By the time the Nikki anniversary scandal erupted, the rules of survival for Korean developers were already written in blood, or at least in apology statements. Shift Up had already been through the
At this point, no. There's nothing performative about the response now. At this point, I don't think there's anything performative about how Shift Up handled this situation. They created a whole ass department. They changed the art. They gave all the people free shit. They're like, we swear to God, we aren't we're not part of this pro-feminist radicalization movement.
Please don't stop being our fans and thinking that we're like pro-feminist, like insanity.
That's the extra context completely shifts my answer.
Jeez.
This rodeo once before. During the development of Stellar Blade, the studio faced its own wave of hysteria, a tug of war between Western journalists who accuse it of being sexist and domestic anti-feminists who accuse it of being too feminist. When everyone hates you for opposite reasons, the safest strategy isn't always integrity.
I have a few hundred hours in this game. I platinumed it. I played through it 3 times. I don't understand where anyone could, again, unless you are changing or like dialing in your definition of feminism to something extremely specific, and that's just a female protagonist that happens to, like, the developers embraced the sexuality of the character. Wasn't it it was the freaking
modeled after a real woman.
It was
modeled after a real woman, so it's not like it's unrealistic.
Well, yeah, not even before that. So yes, the Eve's body was based off of an actual Korean model. However, even before that, the design was done, I'm pretty sure I'm remembering this correctly, by the head director's wife.
I thought girlfriend, but maybe wife. Yeah, either way, yes, his female part.
One of those.
Yeah.
By a female, right? So
yes, you are correct.
What's the problem? Like, I don't see how you look at Stellar Blade and you think feminist propaganda.
Dude,
I expect that kind of retardation out of, like, I don't know, The Verge or
Reddit.
The Gamer or Reddit or X or, I don't know, CBR, things like that, right? Like Inverse especially. Inverse is peak idiocracy. I don't know how you look at this game and think that there was feminist messaging or I don't know how to help you there, man.
She's saying that their Gamergate made ours look, theirs was more insane than ours. Our Gamergate was like oh, these females are fucking journalists for good game reviews. Yeah, there's some journalistic integrity questions that should really be addressed.
That was the original Gamergate.
Was hand signature means small peepee. Like, this is because I remember when they tried to make the okay symbol means racism.
Oh,
Like,
yeah, this means
that.
okay. There are two things that this means. This is either the A-OK symbol, which has been for decades, or it's circle game. Okay?
It's what? Circle gang?
Do you know circle game? Are you not familiar?
Like that we play in like elementary school and shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought you said gang, a G-A-N-G.
No, game. Sorry. Like, that's it. Those are your only options. And so I remember when like they were trying to make that like, oh, that means white power. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah. Something along the lines of like, you got three, just like the KKK. I don't even remember how they broke it down.
Dude,
but
the mental gymnastics.
But the funny part is, do you know how that started? This being a racist thing. So it started by a bunch of right-wingers on 4chan as a joke to see if they get the left to believe it. And the left,
of course.
So it out thinking the whole this is a racist symbol was literally a troll that went so viral people forgot that it was a troll. I love the timeline we live in.
I do actually remember that now. Oh,
I think we live in the best timeline. You telling me that we can turn this into a racist symbol as a troll, but also get games like Refantasio and shit? Dude, I love it.
This world is remarkable.
It's invisibility. So when Goddess of Victory, Nikki's 1000-day artwork blew up, Shift Up didn't just panic, it executed a textbook corporate self-exercise.
We have 69 viewers right now. Nice. Shout out to whoever the 69th
The studio's new
was.
quality management department has a name alone that sounds as though it had been lifted straight from the Ministry of Truth's staff handbook. Its stated purpose is to ensure that no hateful expressions slip through. Again, not a gesture, not a shape, not even a stray shadow that could be mistaken for feminism. Due to the perceived feminist incursion, the company
Hold on. Because
that could be mistaken for feminism.
When I see feminism, when I hear feminism, this is what I think of, right?
Yeah, totally.
Feminism.
I pulled this character. This is like one of the two new characters for this the 3rd anniversary event for Goddess of Victory Nike. She's also a freaking like triple S tier character. She's fantastic, and I somehow managed to have
more like a triple D tier character to me. But
I managed to have like a stupid pull on her. So the super long story short, you pull your character, but then in order to 3-star, which is getting them to your first like main level cap, you have to pull them another 3 times. And then after that, you pull them more to increase their core level. That's a whole level beyond what I'm currently at. But like essentially you want to pull, if a character is somebody you plan on using and maining, you need to pull them 4 times. Original pull to have them.
The way that Fire Emblem Heroes, I think, work.
Fire Emblem Heroes or Goddess or Genshin Impact, things like that.
Okay.
And so pull it the first time to acquire the character, pull it 3 additional times to 3-star them so that they can hit their first like main level cap, to where like that's where they're truly, you get to unlock a lot of their best abilities, things like that. I managed to get her to 2-star in a single pull. So it means I pulled her 3 times. So I only have to pull her 1 more time to like soft cap her, which is fantastic because she's such a good character. Her name's Nayuta. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly, but yeah, she looks fantastic from the front and from behind.
Yeah, I appreciate the art design in this game.
Due to the perceived feminist incursion, the company's stock briefly wobbled as the controversy spread. Recently, director Hyung Suk-yu doubled down in October 2025, declaring a policy of zero tolerance for hate speech. For many outside Korea, the whole episode seems laughable, a studio apologizing for the shape of a woman's hand. But inside the country, it wasn't comedy. It was damage control. And so, what began as a cheerful celebration of Goddess of Victory Nikki's success ended up as something far stranger, a masterclass in outrage, where a drawing of a woman's hands became a symbol of sedition. A pose that once meant absolutely nothing turned into a lightning rod for every conspiracy simmering beneath South Korea's cultural divide. But while it's tempting to laugh this off as Korea being Korea, that would be missing the
Which is what we've just spent the last like 30 minutes doing. So
bigger picture. This isn't just their story, it's ours too. Where creators nervously measure the curvature of a line, companies build quality management departments to pre-approve imagination, and yet, through it all, Shift Up handled the fallout with remarkable composure. They stayed professional, protected their staff, and moved forward without the smug condescension or moral grandstanding we've come to expect from Western studios.
Good point. Yeah. I'd say she's entirely correct there.
I feel like right there, what she just said is probably like the moral of this story.
Yeah.
In an industry where many would rather double down than de-escalate. That alone deserves credit. Still, it raises an uncomfortable question. If Western cancel culture punishes creators for not being progressive enough and Korea's punishes them for appearing too progressive, isn't it really just the same machine turning in opposite directions? I'll leave that one for you to ponder over in the comments section down below. Don't forget that through my links you can save huge money on a huge selection of titles.
Right. Shout out. I will link this one as well. Again, chat, give it a like. Just support her if need be if you want to. And
I might have to
subscribe
to her.
Yeah, her Lady Arcades or Lady Decades or Lady Arcade. She got 2 channels. Very, very great stuff. But I like what you said at the end. It's like, is it not just 2 sides of the same machine? Because that's again like
that's very poignant.
At the end of the day, look, I'm a capitalist first and foremost. Make the fuck you want to make, and then let the free hand of the market decide. Like, I got no issue. You can make the most hyper rainbow LGBT filled feminist fucking video game you want, and the market will decide. Where my bugaboo comes in is when you do it to these pre-established franchises that never had anything to do with that we love. That at that point, it's a different story. So
don't co-opt existing franchises.
What was that?
I said, don't co-opt existing franchises in the process. Create your own thing.
So, yeah, you're right. Moral of the story, and Korea, just let me know if you need some help. I got you.
Yeah,
I do.
Are you okay?
I think we get along great. The southern part, not the northern part. I don't think we get along very good.
I promise I'm doing my best to help you out. I do play Nikkei.